Ladies and gentlemen, it is the final countdown. It is the insulator versus the conductor. Who will win this battle? What? This isn't what you meant? You didn't mean this conductor versus this insulator? Ah! So apparently this is what we're supposed to be talking about, is this type of insulator and this type of conductor. So if we think about an insulator, you should have some background knowledge. Insulator is something that will insulate, meaning that it will block, whether it's blocking heat transfer or if it's blocking electricity. Of course, we care more about electricity. So insulators would be like plastic coating on a wire, cotton. Those types of things are definitely insulators. So if we notice there's plastic coating here, sometimes wires will also have like a cotton type of fabric inside of there to resist electricity getting out of there. And then conductors would be things similar, like things like metals, so like copper, those types of things. They tend to transfer heat well, but they also definitely transfer electricity. So let's take a look at the periodic table of elements, and this is kind of interesting. So if we look at things like copper, silver, gold, those three elements are definitely very good at conducting electricity. And then as are some of the other metals. Metals tend to conduct electricity. So this whole left side of the periodic table, we tend to say that's like the metallic side. And then on the right side, if you think about plastics, plastics have a lot of carbon in them. They also have hydrogen. And then there's other things that use these types of elements to be insulators as well. So this right side of the periodic table would be examples of things that tend to be insulators. They resist the flow of electricity. So it's kind of like, okay, well, why? Why do these things on the right side of the periodic table resist the flow of electricity versus why do these things on the left side of the periodic table tend to not? We'll take a closer look at that. So we're going to take a closer look at the copper atom and then the krypton atom. Let's take a look. If we look at copper, copper has 29 protons and then it has, of course, 29 electrons. And if we look at these electrons here, imagine these are electron shells. That's what we call them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're looking at 4 different electron shells, and there's names for them and so on. When you get in chemistry, you're going to learn a lot more about this. But for our purposes, the main thing we need to know is like, hey, this electron shell on the outside, it only has 1 electron in it. And you know what? This electron's not very happy. Here's what I want you to imagine. Imagine this electron shell. So it depends on the electron shell. Notice this one only has 2. It's because it can only have 2. So it's kind of like there's 2 seats in this electron shell. So there's 2 electrons that sit there. Now this electron shell has like 8 seats. So this 1 electron, imagine this is like a person, and they're sitting all by themselves, and there's 7 other empty seats around here, and they're looking around, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm sitting here all by myself, and what's easier? Is it easier for me to get 7 friends over here, or is it easier for me to go sit by another friend? So that's what this electron ends up doing, is it ends up going to a different atom and sitting by them. It's attracted to other atoms, and it wants to like fall off. It wants to go away. So that's why we use copper in wires, because the copper it flows through the wire, like the animation we saw in the prior lesson. That electron really, really likes to flow and be passed down to the next one because it easily comes off. Now, if we look at an atom like krypton, so this has 36 protons, 36 electrons on that outside electron shell. So there's 8 seats. Every single seat is full. So if this electron tried to get to krypton, krypton would be like, hey, no, you know what? I don't want you over here. We're all filled up. And then also krypton's like, I'm not going to give anybody away either. So krypton is a very, very happy atom. And so that's why it's in the noble gas column, which again, you'll learn a little bit more about that in like a chemistry type class. So some of these atoms really like to pass their electron. Some of these atoms, they resist. The ones that resist make great insulators. The ones that like to pass the electron make good conductors.